There's no sound. Are we live right now?
We are live right now. Welcome, everybody. This is the pre-show. We're going to get into the countdown here. About 6 minutes out.
I don't know if you noticed, but I wore the colors to match the brand.
I love it. I love it. Here we go. We're going to open this up. Here we go.
There you go.
We got our countdown going. Welcome, everybody. If you're on LinkedIn, you know what you're supposed to be doing right now. Make sure you are liking, sharing, telling us where you're calling in from. We want you to like, shout out your city and state, questions, comments. We want it all. Make sure you're hitting those thumbs up buttons, your celebrate button, your support button, your love button, your insightful buttons as we're talking, curious buttons. I want to welcome Fanny Dunnigan, commenting on the show, Jennifer Burnback, Annie Lieb. Looking forward to it. Make sure you're sharing. Get it out to your audience. We love you for it. It's been an exciting week. We were on Fanny Dunnigan's show yesterday. Steve, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, Fanny is amazing. Fanny and Ann put on an incredible show, and we just had a blast doing it. And yeah, honestly, I don't know if so there's a cool story, but we'll get to it maybe eventually where how me and Cameron kind of came to this to come up with the show. But one of the things before we did, he's like, you gotta go check out Fanny's LinkedIn live broadcast. You got to. I'm like, okay. So we being on the show, backstage, behind the scenes, there was a lot of good stuff that I think we both gathered from what she does. But it was really good. She puts a great content out, and she's got a great heart to really want to help. And her theme is to be the light, share the light. What is that? What it is? Share the light, right?
Shine your light. Hashtag shine your light.
Shine your light. Yeah, which is great. But it's going to be a great episode. Cameron, I'm not seeing, I don't know if you are, on the comments section. Normally we see the comments from the viewers on the comments. Oh, they're starting to come through now. Yours right now. But okay.
Yep. Everybody, we're looking for you to get in here. Tell us where you're viewing from. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being with us.
Yes, sir. Got Jennifer G. Jennifer with a G is on with us here. Pretty cool, Jennifer. And Fanny joined us as well. So good to see you, Fanny. And Annie is on here as well. Annie connected just recently, so it's good to have you on here, Annie. It's cool stuff. Yeah, this is going to be a great show. Looking forward to it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I have a new intro video, so I'll play it once and then I'll
fire up your Friday.
Fired up Friday.
With Steve Spiro, the Master Connector.
I am Steve Spiro, the Master Connector.
Over the next hour of this Master Connection series, we will take a deep dive into the different ways to connect and network effectively.
See us and hear us right now. So LinkedIn, we are on here. We're getting ready.
Hear from.
So I gotta try to play that again. We'll get a round two on that. I put a new video together. We got Alex checking in. I got Alan Greenwald checking in.
It started to come through. Yeah, Alex is I believe from Michigan. Make sure you're stating where you're from, what city and state, for sure. Yeah. I wonder if other people are getting on. I didn't have a LinkedIn Live notice when I went on my feed.
Oh, there we go. Looks like everything's working here. We got some people checking in. I'm gonna get my music going here. All right, for all my ladies in the house, check in with everybody. Please let us know how you're feeling. Kate, how you doing? Maggie, how you doing? Christina, how you doing? Jamie, how you doing? You guys can unmute. You're allowed.
Hey. I am here and ready to go, Cameron and Steve. Thanks for the invite.
Absolutely.
We're so happy to have you. I know you're going through some challenging times. Thanks for being here anyway, Maggie.
Sure
We're here to
thing.
support you. All right, we got Alex checking in from Saginaw, Michigan. I'm currently living in Bloomfield, Colorado. Mr. Chris
Andy, the man
Danuski.
Phillips is in the house.
Mr. Chris Danuski from Yonkers. Andy Phillips from breezy Croton, New York. Alan, Ardsley, New York. We love you guys. Keep up in the comments here. We want to know your questions. Like, what are you doing on social media right now? What's working for you? Do you have a plan? Are you looking for a plan? Make sure you're hitting all those buttons. Like, share, shout out your city and state. We want to hear from you. What are your questions today? What are your comments? We love the engagement on this show. Thank you so much for being here. We love you.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be an incredible time here. Looking forward to everybody's great wisdom. So it's going to be an amazing show. Yeah, being on with Fanny gave us a new perspective. So, okay, we got the 1 minute countdown coming, huh?
I got the brand new video, Steve. Here we go. Here we go.
Do it.
Fire up your Friday
Fired Up Friday.
with Steve Spiro, the Master Connector.
I am Steve Spiro, the Master Connector.
Over the next hour of this Master Connection series, we will take a deep dive into the different ways to connect and network effectively.
See us and hear us right now. So LinkedIn, we are on here. We're getting ready.
Hear from experts along with Steve Spiro, who went from being shy and introverted to the Master Connector.
What do you think? What do you think?
Nice job.
Awesome.
The best part of the whole
Very
video
nicely
is Cameron
done.
with the cowboy hat. You gotta say that, right? Best part.
All right, so I'm going to go around. I'm going to introduce everybody. Steve, I want you to do your welcome. Go ahead. I'm going to put you center screen here.
All right. Well, welcome everybody. So it's Steve Spiro, the Master Connector. Cameron and I really appreciate you being here with us today. Welcome to our show. Each week on Fridays at 2 p.m. Eastern, we come at you with engaging content on how you could be a Master Connector as well. You know, as a shy, introverted kid from the Bronx to someone who has grown a massive network, I can talk to just about anybody. And there's definitely been lots of great lessons along the way, like most of us have now, you know. It's been a winding road. So from starting out and having an advertising company right out of college to martial arts studio to technology sales and now consulting and mentoring along with self-development, it's been a very crucial thing for me. I've learned to adapt and, you know, and keep growing. You got to keep growing. I love sharing what I've heard and learned. And so please make sure to check out my Fired Up Friday Master Connector tip videos that I post every Friday. Thanks to my good friend Sean Lashley of 10,000 Cards. I have a digital card that catalogs all 60 plus weeks of the videos in one place. Check them out. DM me if you want to get that card, and I'll send you a digital card. But during the Master Connection series, each week our goal is to gather subject matter experts, like you see here, right? And they impart their wisdom on all of us, including Cameron and I, right? And we're always learning. You know, you'll see that through this show, right? You got to keep growing. Super important. But I'm blessed to have my co-host Cameron Toth here. He's the founder of Toth Event Staffing, and now the host of Biz Dev Live every weekday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Biz Dev Live Networking on Tuesday at 12 noon. So don't miss either. But I know, Cameron, you're going to take us through some of the great, incredible folks we have here and go through their bios. So appreciate you, sir. I know you create all the magic for us, and we really appreciate you.
Thank you, Steve. Yep, we got Yolanda Chen from Dallas, Texas checking in. We got Steve Abbott checking in. Amy Canarek checking in from New City, New York. Yolanda, thank you. I worked hard on the intro today. Thank you for that. Pat Laurie checking in. Ellie checking in from Jersey. Thanks for being here. We're so excited. Make sure you guys are sharing with your network. It really helps us out, get this out, and makes it more fun in the comments for you, because that's what the fun is, right? You know, we have some great talent, amazing awesome experts in their given industries on this show, but one of the things that really makes this incredibly special is all of you in the comments, commenting, asking questions. That makes it more fun. I hope you're networking with each other, connecting, creating new connections in the comments. As I'm going through with the intros right now, keep telling us where you're checking in from. We really want to know. We love seeing all the different areas by letting people know where you're from. You may find some local connections in the chat, and that's fun. Also, we want to know, are you in the midst of creating a social media plan? Do you have a social media plan? Where are your struggles? Where are your pain points? We want those questions. Ask those right now so that our expert panel can really put their knowledge to work in helping you create things that are really meaningful. You'll see through the intros, you got people that are very good at what they do in their specific industries. So listen to these intros really well. Make sure you're connecting with the expert panelists and ask those questions. The more specific, the better, because if you have the question, then somebody else has the question. It's going to be amazing. Here we go. All right. So I'm going to go first to Christina. Here we go. Christina Szarka. With over 13 years of experience in leadership and development, Christina has worked for and with some of the top 100 brands recognized worldwide, such as Verizon, Mars, Inc., maintaining master training certificates in numerous programs surrounding project and change management, as well as leadership. Among her favorite to facilitate are those offered through Vital Smart, such as Influencer, the new science of leading change, and crucial accountability. Tools for leaders tackling challenging conversations surrounding performance and behavior. Please welcome to the stage, Christina Szarka. Thanks for being here, Christina.
Hi, thanks for having me.
All right, we're going to go over to Jaime Laufer. Jaime Laufer is the co-founder of Venn, a recruiting and talent consultancy located in Connecticut. Jaime has 10 years of experience matching candidates to their dream jobs and growing organizations by solving business challenges through people strategy. Her approach is simple yet powerful. Jaime forgoes traditional recruiting formalities and gets to know each candidate and business partner beyond a resume or job description. This ensures that talent, passion, and potential are celebrated and explored, leading to happy, engaged employees, increased tenure, and higher productivity. Jaime is an ally to candidates, amplifying and elevating the voices, values, and experiences of all, most importantly, the underrepresented. Jaime is equal parts connector, storyteller, and caregiver, the true DNA of an empathetic and passionate recruiter. Please welcome to the stage, Jaime Laufer. Thanks for being here.
Thanks so much. I'm excited.
Oh, we love having you here. All right, we're going to go over to Kate Strachnyi. Kate Strachnyi is the founder of DATAcated and a well-known social influencer for AI, artificial intelligence, and data science. She is an author, podcast host, and speaker. She is a LinkedIn Top Voice 2018 and 2019 recipient. She's also the host of the DATAcated conference. Welcome to the stage, Kate Strachnyi.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. All right. We're going over to Maggie Carey, the amazing Maggie Carey, with over 35 years of information technology experience. Maggie Carey has worked with government agencies, private industries, nonprofits, and publishing companies. She blends her theatrical background with her corporate experience to educate businesses on developing and engaging social media presence to gain a loyal audience. Master at Media was born out of a passion for reducing the stress businesses experience when leveraging social media's ever-changing landscape. She is also Broadway World's 2020 Performer of the Decade in Westchester, Putnam. Please welcome to the stage, Maggie Carey.
Hey, Cameron. It's so nice to be here. Thank you and Steve for having me.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. You're a part of the network. We love you. All right. I am going to go to our master connector himself, Steve Spiro, the master connector. Brings all of us together, is somebody that really cares about networking. Give it up for the man himself. Steve, get us into this conversation. I know one of the things that we're going to first ask is, how you use social media, and you are the master connector and have built an incredible network on LinkedIn. So get this conversation started off, and I'm going to ask my expert panel to get into the private chat and ask for next there. But go ahead and get us started on how you do your social media planning, Steve Spiro.
Yeah, so my social media plan is simple, right? For those who, viewers that come on the show, I keep things very simple. So my plan is daily, my plan is weekly, right? So every day I'm going on and I'm connecting with people. Every day I'm going on. If there's something that jumps out at me, I'm liking or sharing it, commenting, tagging. And then, the other thing I'll do is once a week, I have a Fired Up Friday video that I do every Friday. Check it out if you haven't. I put one out this morning. That's my commitment, is every week to do that. And then obviously we edit on this platform, the LinkedIn Live. So it's an ongoing thing. I mean, that's it. I stay steady. I'm a steady guy. Slow and steady wins the race. And I'm not a big, some shiny object comes up. I'm not like the shiny object guy. So this is what my plan is, and I'm sticking with it. And Live came in, and I said, okay, that seems to make sense. Let's add that on. But it's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. It's slow and steady. Just do something daily, and if you can, post weekly. That's my strategy.
And we have a couple questions already, so keep your questions coming, especially the more specific they are, the better, because we can get into it. If you have the question, right, somebody else has the question. Steve, Pat Laurie is asking, what is the best way to promote your LinkedIn Live or Facebook Live show? I know that we're working on this, so I want you to start that off, and then Kate is going to jump in here next. Go ahead, Steve.
Well, I'm not on LinkedIn, on Facebook very much. So I know that Cameron and other, I know he's been doing some stuff on some of the other medias. But I would just put a post up with a link and get people over here, right? I mean, but Cameron, if I'm not mistaken, in this particular show, you're actually, aren't you also broadcasting on Facebook as well? Or am I wrong?
Correct. So what I was hoping you were going to say was speaking to, because we put so much work into these LinkedIn events that we set up on LinkedIn.
Right.
So that is the way. I know I've talked to Pat about that. That's one of those things, not only from a perspective of getting it out to the audience, to let them know that the event is coming up, from a data point, you're actually able to gather the email addresses if you set up that event, especially through your business page on LinkedIn. Right. You can't do it and collect the information from your personal page setting up an event, but if you have a business page and a privacy policy, you're then able to collect the names of people so you can add them. And because you add the privacy policy, LinkedIn lets you know who is opted in to your marketing and who is not. So it's a great data play. So a great place to move the conversation over to Kate. Jump in here.
Yeah, absolutely. So first off, I'll comment on the approach for how I typically plan out my content, which is really, I don't really have a plan most of the time. And I get this question a lot in terms of, do you plan to post at a specific time of day or in a specific day of the week? And my answer to that is usually I post whenever I get the idea to post a piece of content. So sometimes that means I will post, 5 or 10 times per day. And sometimes that means I'll post only once or twice a day. But typically, I don't think a day goes by where I'm not posting on LinkedIn. But I'll go over to that next question in terms of how to promote a LinkedIn Live, because I do host several LinkedIn Live shows. I even have a conference on LinkedIn Live. So very great platform. I actually started double streaming to Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and anywhere else that StreamYard can actually connect with, because I figured why not, right? Why not stream to multiple platforms? But LinkedIn is definitely where I have 99% of my followers. So the way I typically promote this is I actually have a ConvertKit page, an actual registration page where I collect names, emails, sometimes company names and job titles. And then that allows me to actually send an email to individuals who have signed up to an event to say, hey, we're live now. Because one thing I've noticed with the LinkedIn Live events, you can have thousands of people say they're going to show up, but then something goes wrong where they don't get that reminder. So I wanted to have more of that control. So that's been my process, posting on LinkedIn Live, telling people, hey, go sign up at this registration page, and then announcing it via email once we're actually live.
I love that. Hopefully Pat, that answered some of your question. Let us know if you want us to do some follow-up. I know Maggie wanted to jump into this topic as well. Go ahead, Maggie.
Yeah, just real quick. And Kate, I love some of those tips. I'm going to be talking to you about ConvertKit. One of the things that I do is I send out an email as well for when I am not lucky enough to have LinkedIn Live yet, but I do have Facebook and YouTube Live, and I announce it on my socials, and I invite people to the event. That really does help. And then sending out the email as well, because sometimes people forget, and doing it within a significant, a close time, so that they don't just forget. So you can post it on one day that you're doing it, but then remind them via email, maybe within the hour. I'd love to hear how soon Kate does her email blast to people, because that would be really important. The timing is so important.
Yes, so the way I do this is, first of all, when people sign up, they get an email that says, thank you for signing up. Please add this to your calendar. So I actually link ConvertKit with another tool called Add Event that lets you add this event to the calendar. And that gives them a 15-minute reminder. But then I know on LinkedIn, you can't really get that live streaming link until you're actually live. So typically it's about 1 or 2 minutes into the live show when, if I announce what we're talking about, I bring on the guests, then I kind of go behind the scenes and get that link and email it out as soon as I can. So it's while we're actually live that link comes out.
So Pat Lori says, thank you. Yes, I was wondering about ConvertKit too. So I think these are, when we talk about social media plan, there's a lot to go in here with different things that people are using. I definitely want to get some insight from Jamie for folks that are looking for jobs, because I think this is always, we always want to give this kind of advice when people are in that place. What should they be doing on their social media? How should they be planning their social media? I also want to put it out there for folks on the panel to sort of start thinking about. But Chris Januski asked, how far in advance do you plan your social media calendar? And I'll say this: I try to plan out as far as humanly possible. I fail often and I fail hard, but I try to get things done in advance. Steve's trying to get me to do things sooner for this show. I'm trying to do things sooner for this show, to get this stuff up. The sooner, the better, especially so that you can have it over a long time, so that as you're promoting an event, there's more time in advance for momentum to build. Jamie, did you want to talk to job seekers out there? And we'll definitely come back to Chris's question about the social media calendar.
Sure. I mean, social media has been such a powerful tool for not only job seekers, but business owners too, to be able to connect and just show a peek behind the curtain, if you will. So it's really powerful for both sides of it. But as a job seeker, quite a few placements recently for me specifically in the companies I work for have been because people reached out on Instagram or LinkedIn saying like, hey, I just want to get in touch. And just through that avoiding of the online application system, and by creating that personal touch through social media, I've been able to get quite a few candidates. So it's definitely, whether it's Instagram, LinkedIn, I mean, you can do it through Twitter. I found it also depends on the industry. I find lots of developers and coders on Twitter that they seem to be active there. So depending on what industry you're in, you can absolutely use social media as a way to just learn more about the companies you want to work for or work with, and also find a person and really engage with them.
I love that. Can you talk a little bit about, I was talking with somebody today about just resume, and in terms of like having your stuff out there, the open to work symbol, having it versus not, what people should be filling out on their LinkedIn profile if they are looking for work?
Sure. I think the open, whether you're a business, I absolutely believe you should add open to hiring, as well as a job seeker open for work. I personally am trying to help as many people as possible that have been, fallen victim to this pandemic and layoffs and furloughs. So I'm trying to help people that are open to work first and foremost. So I absolutely think that that's an awesome thing that LinkedIn rolled out for everyone. And then in terms of your LinkedIn, you have to kind of think about your LinkedIn and your resume and any other assets that you have out there as almost like a website. Like you want to optimize them as much as you can. So like one of my biggest tips is don't just put the name of the tools that you know. So for example, let's say you're a developer and you code in content management systems. I would suggest optimize. Use the term CMS and use the actual tool that you know. So CMS, content management system, and WordPress. Because recruiters nowadays are not just recruiting by job title. Everyone calls themselves something different lately. I mean, people are making up titles with Rockstar, Ninja in the name. So a lot of recruiters are recruiting and sourcing through the keywords and the buzzwords. So optimizing is the best thing I can think of for your resume and for your LinkedIn.
I love it. All right. So we had a couple of questions here. I want to go over to Christina to talk about some of the corporate side and what people should be doing. And we were in a like never, ever before unprecedented time of sort of scrutiny on corporations, what people are doing in the social world, consequences that come down, right? So I'd love you to sort of speak to social media strategy around, corporate presence. And then while Christina's gone, if you guys can sort of think to Chris Januski's question of how far you're planning out that social media calendar. And then Braden Daniels has a question, what days, times is best to post content on LinkedIn? We'd love several perspectives on this. Christina, are you good to go on the corporate social responsibility topic here?
I mean, you're going to have to elaborate. Are you referring more along the lines of HR and what people are posting, and if they're working for a corporation, what they should be mindful of, or?
I think both perspectives, like what does the company want to put out in terms of what they're projecting, and also, how do you monitor what your staff is doing? How do you, set up, things to actually be effective in one, maybe giving some rules for staff so that you're not cleaning up messes that you don't have to, while also giving them the freedom, right? I think, employees posting, I saw some sort of statistic the other day on if your employees, I might have seen it on Maggie's thing or somewhere, but if your employees are posting, that it's more powerful than you as the company posting.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. So for me, I think that it's setting the boundaries and setting your expectations as to what you feel is okay and what represents your brand, as far as what your employees are posting, and then having almost like a gatekeeper. So that's not something that I'm particularly responsible for. But the organizations that I have as clients will typically have a smaller department or entity that is getting flags, notifications anytime that something comes up, so that they can kind of be monitoring what is being presented.
Gotcha. Maggie, I know you wanted to jump in on the planning.
Yes. So planning is one of the things that I do with my clients. When we look at a month at a time, we have strategy sessions, we look a month out, and then we see what's going on in that month. Are there any special events that they're doing, any special holidays coming up, any promotions that they're offering, and blend them in. However, I also look at feeding in between those times some organic posts, because of those you can't think like, the whole Bernie Sanders thing with him sitting with his hands crossed. Remember that, started trending. Those are things you take advantage of during the time to kind of engage your audience and add some humor, or there may be something coming on, like who knew what was going to happen with COVID. If you had your whole year planned out in January of 2020, you did a lot of work for nothing. So this is where looking at your month ahead, planning ahead that month is great, but also every day looking, is there something special I can share? Behind the scenes are great. Questions asking your people are great. Those are things that kind of help you through. And of course, catering to the platform you're on. It's different platforms, you want to post different frequencies.
I love it. Yeah. I think, when you're talking about getting that plan together, and guys, let me know on the back channel where you guys want to go with the conversation, and I'll go to you. So just hit me up on the private chat on the back, and I'll call people as we go here. But we have some more questions from folks, and to everybody that's watching, please let us know really specifically how, are you looking at data? Are you looking at, in terms of growing your network? What are your goals? Let us know what your goals are with your social media in the comments, and we can speak to those specific things. I'd love to kind of go around the room and sort of see what people's goals are with social media. I know for me, because I'm doing events every week, I'm trying to plan out my social media in terms of getting the events up and then getting promotional pieces up for those events. So in terms of social media calendar, it's like as far as I can push it out, getting the content created. And because I'm doing events all the time, there's plenty of stuff to feed into, LinkedIn, Instagram, everything else, right? Because I can promote all these events for companies that, you're maybe not, you don't have a ton of events coming up, different things to talk about. Then it's about creating that conversation with your community. What are the things that you're doing? And I think one of the appropriate things to do in terms of a social media calendar is looking at what you're going to be doing when. If you're an accountant, thinking about tax deadlines and, updating people on things, necessary things that are coming up. If you're in any kind of structured business where you have those periods of times of year where you're going to be more busy, like thinking about how am I promoting? How am I talking about what am I doing? How am I providing value? How am I providing a resource? I was talking about follow-up on BizDev Live today, and the idea that, it's one thing to send a nice greeting out. It's another thing to send out a nice greeting that actually has something of value, somebody that can take something away with that. I hope that makes sense for everybody. And I know I'll have some places of jumping off for us in terms of places to go. Steve, did you want to jump in?
Well, that was a while ago.
Sorry.
We're 3 chapters into the book already, from when I wanted to talk about it. I completely misunderstood Pat's question. If you maybe could pull that up on the screen, if there's not too much trouble.
Yeah, so she was talking about how to promote your LinkedIn Live event like we're doing today. Yep.
So I mean, Kate kind of covered a little bit of it, but really making sure that, an event page is great. Kate, this might be a good little hack for you. And I learned this recently. So because we use StreamYard on the back end of the LinkedIn Live, what we're able to do is create a LinkedIn Live link that the minute you post it somewhere on that event page, it's good. So the challenge has been, we've been having a slow go of getting that LinkedIn link out, the link out. But if you can get it done, you could have it out on your event page, so you're not having to scramble, the minute the show starts to get that link out. So that's been helpful, right? In terms of and Cam, I got to give Cam a lot of credit. He's been doing promotional videos. Like you said, we're trying to get this stuff out sooner versus later. But one of the things that we're doing for this show is, and I don't know if Cameron, you saw this, but I'm helping lighten the load for Cameron, because it's got a lot on his plate already. And then on this side of things, with regards to the, kind of his part of this is putting the promotional graphics together. So I'm trying to plan the shows well in advance and what they are, and also what the questions are and some of the content is in advance as well. So the further out you can get that stuff squared away in terms of this show, it will be helpful. So hopefully that helps, but really it's really getting out the event page, getting out, graphic. And one thing that I'm doing, and Maggie, you mentioned this, is the day of the show, the morning of the show, I'm sending out a bunch of messages. Now it's a little manual, but I'm sending a bunch of messages out with the live link, because I think that, like you said, although people are going to see it a week or two in advance, they're going to forget, right? So if you get it out right away, and you're going to have so those are some of the tools that we've been doing to promote our LinkedIn Live show, or and hopefully that's a better prepared answer for answering Pat's question.
I love it. And Christina in the back channel says, Christina Szarka says, I think it's quality, not quantity regarding social media, and people have to be careful not to fall into that trap, right? So while we're kind of talking to that, we also have Ellie's question. how to handle awkward, questionable connections while remaining open to all possibilities. This is I think we got to do a show on this in the future, Steve, because I know this is one that comes up all the time. Does anybody want to tackle this one? I know for the ladies, we've definitely tackled this on the show as well, that I think more often, I think we all get a lot of sales thing, but ladies get some other stuff going on in their inboxes as well. Does anybody want to address that? Steve?
I'll address it. So, I mean, and believe it or not, guys get this stuff too. You know, we get reached out by people of all female persuasion and male or whatever in the same kind of way. So maybe not as often, but we get it too. But I'm going to take it more of the kind of salesy approach, or I'm going to go this route, right? What I try to do, and sometimes I think we can be hypersensitive. At least I know I can be. And I'm already assuming the wrong negative thing. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. And I crafted, I know Cameron likes some of my systems I put in place, but I have some pre-crafted messaging that I send when somebody says something to me. And I respond back in a very neutral way, just sort of to try to unpack, you know, is this going in a professional direction? Are they open to networking generally? Or are they have an agenda here? And I'm making it clear, my reason for networking is not agenda-based. So if that's the direction we're going to go, we're going to get to know each other purely, fine. But if there's anything else, not really looking to do that. So that's how I've addressed it. It's just I craft a message that is well thought out, and it's giving them the benefit of the doubt just in case. Maybe I'm misunderstanding. Maybe I'm having a bad day, right? That's what the challenge with text messaging and messaging in general is you can't read. If you're in a bad mood at the moment, and you're reading something, you're going to interpret it that way, right? In a bad way. So just breathe, and if you have something pre-crafted, then you can make sure that the emotion is kind of out of the equation. Hopefully it helps.
I love that. And I think patience is such a big deal, right? Patience on social media. Like I think we're so quick to react to certain things. And so I love Gary V's take on this. You know, if somebody's like a troll in the comments, and you can, you know, basically have a troll in your DMs, you could have somebody that I've tried to take the tactful, patient approach with it in terms of understanding that, especially if somebody's coming from a place of maybe not that strategic, not that empathetic, not that fun, not that nice, I try to feel for them. I try to understand that maybe they're going through something, they're challenged, they're feeling the pressure to get their numbers in, these kind of things. And I try to be extremely empathetic and say, you know, how can I help you? And, you know, I might not be your ideal customer, but I'm very open to helping you along. And then I try to ease them into something along the lines of, hey, I'd like to tackle things from a better approach here. And, you know, I suggest that if you reach out to somebody this way, you may get better results. I know Kate wanted to talk about repurposing content, and then Christina has a question. Go ahead, Kate.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to talk about this. First, I'll just quickly comment on the awkward questions and messages. I feel like LinkedIn is probably the best platform I've ever used in terms of the number of awkwardness that goes on, simply because most people use their real names and company names, and they have that fear of reputations being ruined. But there definitely are some, you know, levels of awkwardness, and there are different ways of dealing with it. I think coming from a positive perspective and trying to give them the benefit of the doubt is good. Other times I simply just ignore and move on. But I'll get to the point on content. So we spend a lot of time creating content, especially something like this LinkedIn live show, for example, right? It clearly took time to prep, to get the speakers, to get the questions ready, build an audience, and have the show. Well, StreamYard provides you with an MP4 file that can easily be converted into maybe 5 to 10 different small videos, which are great to reuse on either your YouTube channel or sharing them as native videos on LinkedIn or other platforms. And then also, you know, there's just so many ways to repurpose content. You can write a blog article about it. You can create a screenshot of this picture right here and put a little quote on the side of something that I just said and repurpose that as content as well. So I think always keeping in mind, I think, what was it, Christina, who mentioned it's quality over quantity, but you can also get quantity, a lot of more content out of a good quality post or video. So just keep that in mind as you're creating content, is that you can actually repurpose it in many, many ways. I think Gary Vee says you can create 64 pieces of content from one conversation. I'm not sure if I got that number right, but it is true. You can, if you've got the time and the passion, you can definitely keep repurposing your content.
I love that. And one of the things that we do for this show is we'll take, the same image that I've created. Canva is great. I talk about Canva a lot, but I use it a lot. So that's why I talk about it a lot. I don't make any money from promoting it. That's for sure. Canva, holler at us, right? But the idea that, I can take that image, I can create animation. So now I can create a video of it. For folks that saw some of that, you'll see I'll put music, all that's from Canva. I can then resize it and throw it onto Instagram and other places. And so you can take that one piece of content and create a lot of it. The video thing, the post-production thing is a little bit more challenging. And it's, if you got those video post-production skills, it's wonderful, but it can be quite challenging, at least for me. If anybody in the audience has really great video skills and wants to help us out, we could definitely use it. Christina, I know you wanted to ask a question. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just was really interested in Ellie's question, and I wanted to see if she would be willing to just dig a little bit deeper and provide us with a specific example, because I really want to be able to respond to that. So if she gets a minute, I'd like to hear more.
Oh, absolutely. And Ellie, so we're asking you, she says, thanks for addressing the issue. Good advice. Tell us a little bit more about, if you can, obviously we're not necessarily needing them names, but what was the given situation? Why was it creepy? We'd love to answer that. And then Steve, I know you wanted to jump in.
Yeah. So back to Ellie's question as well. She mentioned questionable connections. So I'm assuming what she means is, what I interpret that is, someone's reaching out from you. And I get, I'm sure we all get it, right? The connect request from Zimbabwe or whatever, it's, maybe it to me, it looks questionable, right? So if there's very little content on their profile, if the picture is suspect, I'm probably not connecting. I just ignore it, right? The good news is you're not saying no to anyone. You're just ignoring, which means you're not saying no. You're just not saying yes, right? So that's what I do. I just ignore and move on if I feel like it's questionable in terms of a connect request. So that's all I wanted to do.
Steve, Chris is asking while we're on this, how do you handle the random LinkedIn connection request from someone that may have just been in a Zoom meeting with you, but you really don't know them? Do you recommend just accepting all requests? And it's interesting that Chris is asking it this way, because I'll get requests from people that I've never even met, not even been on a Zoom meeting. At least if you've been in a Zoom meeting, you get a sense that they're somebody that have come in contact you with some way. Do you recommend just accepting all requests? I'd love to get a little round robin here while we're on the screen. Steve, what do you do? And then ladies, if you could let us know.
Sure. Yeah, so for sure. Chris and I, we belong to the same networking group, and as does Cam. And for me, it's just I'm open to most networking requests. Okay, if I just like Cameron said, if I just met them on a Zoom, I saw on a Zoom call, I'm going to connect requests because I think it's almost standard protocol. I know on Cameron's BizDev Live on Tuesdays, he's basically encouraging everyone to reach out to connect on LinkedIn as first step protocol, right? So to me, that's normal protocol. I accept it. But again, if it's random and in terms of like somebody from some out of the blue country, maybe not so much. But yeah, I'm going to accept it, and then I'll filter it. I'll send my typical first message. If I get a decent response back, I'll keep it going. If I feel like it's going in the wrong direction, I'll unfriend them or unconnect with them.
Kate, you want to tell us?
Yes, absolutely. So I started out using LinkedIn, I think the way most people started using LinkedIn, which was connecting with your brother and your colleagues, right? The people you know. And then it dawned on me early on that, when you go to a conference or an event pre-COVID times, you wouldn't only talk to the people you know, you'd actually start talking to people you don't know to build that network. And it was probably 4 or 5 years ago that I decided to connect with almost anyone who had a similar interest with me. And most of my connections came inbound. I actually did some data analysis and noticed like 93% of the connections that I had were because people reached out to me. then I took a pause and actually started reaching out to people who I wanted in my network.
I gotta just interrupt you one sec. I love that you said I did the data on it, because I think that is probably pretty rare for all of us. Kudos to you.
Thank you. Yes, I love data. So I clearly had to get my hands on it. It was very interesting. So I started being more mindful about who I actually bring onto my connections, because there is a limit. 30,000 is not enough connections. I'm actually at 29,000 right now. So I'm hitting that limit pretty soon. So I've paused even more. But whenever I get an inbound connection, if there is a message there that says, hey, I just watched you live on the show, and I agreed with some of your thoughts or had a question, more likely than not, I will accept that connection. But at this point, I'm only going with people who I actually think whose title matches with something that I'm interested in discussing with them, or if they have an actual message to me that says that they really wanted to connect with me. So that's kind of been my go-to.
I love that. All right. I want to keep going around here real quickly to everybody. I love that. Go ahead, Maggie.
So I'm building my LinkedIn following right now. Steve and I actually were talking about this recently. And one of the things that I do is I look at I look at their connections, and I also look to see if they have a profile photo, and I check out their profile if I'm not 100% sure of who they are. But I've got to tell you, I am accepting more and more people in, and I'll ask a question if I'm not sure. I may accept it and just ask, like, hey, how do we know each other? When I send out invites, I'll look at, okay, we were in the LinkedIn Live. There's a whole bunch of you that are here. I'm going to be reaching out to you by the end of the day, if you haven't reached out to me, and saying, hey, it was nice to see you at the Master Connection series, so that they know who you are and they know how you found them. So look at it both ways, not just how they look at you, but how you look at them.
Love that. Christina.
Yeah, so I'll be honest, it's very rare that I would deny a connection. And in reality, as your network continues to grow, so for me, my larger audience is with regard to LinkedIn. And I'll be honest with you, I don't have time. I might get a couple of hundred of invitations a week to connect. And I really don't have time to go and look into each one of them or reach out and see specifically. And I don't have a problem sharing that information. They might want to ask me something. I might get, hey, did you want to look at my resume? Because I also participate with LinkedIn where they can, you can coach people, right? So, I mean, for me, anybody who wants to connect with me, that's fine. I really don't have a problem with that. Where I have a problem is once those connections start getting outside of the realm of professionalism. And just to hop back for a minute, I know that everybody's being super politically correct, and I have to admit that I envy you a little bit, because I'm not as politically correct. And I'm very quick to shut it down almost immediately and say, this is not what I'm here for, and just next. But for me, it's as long as you haven't, if you're starting with a clean slate, no problem. You want to connect, fine. Once you start to cross a line or a boundary, then it's where I'm not going to be as friendly or as polite.
I love that. And I think that fits right in with Braden Daniel's question here is there value in removing connections from time to time? I think you're saying yes for that. And then I think, we'll address, we'll go round robin, I'm sure, on how people kind of, cultivate their community. Jamie, you want to jump in on this same question on how you handle the requests?
Yeah, I mean, as a recruiter, LinkedIn is my jam. And so I will absolutely accept any request that I get, because with every connection, I'm opening another door so that I'm connected to even more people. When I first started recruiting, there was times when people were more than a third connection to me. And I don't think that that's happened in like 5 years, because I have grown my network so much. So for me, it doesn't make sense to deny a request. I think everyone kind of helps build your community and your platform, and just enables you to connect with the next person. And to the point about denying requests or removing connections. I've never had to. People have gotten out of line and use LinkedIn as, you know, it's not a dating app and it's not, I really don't want to talk politics on it. Like there's just stuff I don't want to do. And so I just honestly, there's the power in the delete button and I just delete the conversation and I move on because I don't want to spend my time like trolling the trolls, you know?
Absolutely. And I think going to positivity, right? It's just, why waste the time on it? I know we got another question in here in regards to time. And I think I've definitely fallen into the trap of getting into that Facebook conversation and a place where it just wasn't going to bear out anything good for me. Why was I spending my time there? Why was I doing it? Whose mind was I going to change? You know, there's if you're wanting to make a change in the world, there's better ways to spend your time, right, than arguing in the comments of Facebook. Not that you shouldn't stand up for what you believe in, but having an argument with somebody's mind that, you know, you're not going to change their mind, probably not a good use of time. Steve, I know you wanted to ask Kate a question and respond to Braden. Go ahead.
Yeah. So Kate, you bring up an interesting point, right? To Braden's question, is there a value in removing connections from time to time? Well, if you're going to be maxing out at some point to 30,000, then perhaps there is to start thinking strategically about your, your connections and so forth. I believe there's no limit to how many followers you can have. So that's good news, right? People can still follow you. But it doesn't mean you can be connected. You can only have 30,000 connections, and hopefully one day they'll open that up. But my question to you, Kate, is this. I know we connected on LinkedIn, and I'm curious if you even remember, because you said you're very strategic and very thoughtful about who you connect with who. Why did you agree to connect with me? And I'm putting you on the spot. I have no idea what you're going to even say.
I have no idea how. Honestly, I don't remember how we connected. And
Okay.
I'm going to be even more transparent now. I don't remember how I agreed to do this session because when I saw it on my calendar, it wasn't on my actual calendar. It was on my Yahoo calendar for some reason. And I was playing with my phone. I'm like, oh, I'm going live this afternoon. That's great. And then I checked out the session and sometimes I have so many things going on that I clearly said yes because I found value in the show and I wanted to be a part of it. But sometimes I do forget, Steve. So I'm going to have to look up our first conversation to see how we got connected. And I don't remember why.
I love it. And we got lots of questions coming in. So this is the power of this show. This is why you want to say yes to this show when Steve sends you that request. So we appreciate you for being on the show. We got lots of comments. Great points. Michael Bryce is asking, do you purge your connections list? I think that's a really interesting question. We had, who was it last week, Steve, that said he went through and he deleted his whole, so I can't remember.
Oh yeah, that was oh yeah.
The name just blocked. Of course, I was trying to think
of the beard.
But he went in and he literally deleted his whole Facebook because he was probably having too many meaningless conversations, too much, of what he didn't want to have going on in his life.
Damon Burton said it. Damon Burton.
That's right, Damon Burton. Alicia Smith says, interesting way to connect. I'm sorry, I try to keep the things relevant to the screen, so I may be missing context at this moment, but I wanted to get into all these comments and questions. Christopher Brown says, you can also template video for rapid customization and social deployment with getmarvia.com. So I hadn't heard of that. So that's something. Has anybody here used getmarvia.com? All right. So thank you, Christopher Brown. You just educated all of us. You gave us homework. We're going to go check out getmarvia.com and we'll see what he's talking about. Template video.
I want to just mention video for a second. So, Braden, actually, the reason I wanted to connect further with Braden is when we connected, he sent a really cool little tiny video clip to me after we connected, and it was very thoughtful. And I've had people that have also sent video clips, the minute you connect with them, and you could do that right it's right on the LinkedIn. I don't even think you need to do anything special. You just hit a button, but I think it's a really cool touch beyond the normal messaging. So when he brought up the video, I figured, let me just throw that out.
I love that. And I think, a lot of people, there's Bomb, and there's a couple other, I don't know if anybody else here uses some of these video softwares that, are really good for sending some customized video. You customize the front of it, and then there's a template video. So I think that's what Christopher Brown was talking about, these template videos with these services. I hadn't heard of Gitmarvia, but Bomb, I think there's a couple other of them out there that are really good for sending video in the DMs so that you can really make that personal connection. Because maybe Christina, who's disappeared for the moment, or myself or Steve aren't super bogged down with the requests where we don't even have time, and maybe, just are going to be super choosy because we're at our limits. But for somebody like Oprah or, whoever that reach contact that you're trying to get into their inbox and work with them, it's one of those great ways to show that you're really caring about them and their content. And if you're reaching out to a large amount of people, a way to customize it and make it easy for yourself to reach out to people. I love those kinds of things. Ellie says, and this goes back to Christina's question, I'm a baby at really working my social media, but I'm pretty open to talking and sharing. The situation was more about increasingly personal questions that were framed as getting to know each other. Icky bar rat behavior is the best way I can explain it. All right, so she kind of clarified that, and I think our answer, if anybody wants to jump in on that, is, get rid of it, right? It's one of those things that you just kind of moving on. Does that make sense for everybody? Does anybody want to go deeper on that?
I mean, it's getting you, if they're commenting on your social post, it's giving you engagement, but you have to remember that that's also I know you're laughing at this. It does give you engagement, but the problem is it's not the engagement that you want do you want something like that on your social feed? No. So yeah, my suggestion is delete it. And also, if it gets too serious, I seriously, want you to consider reporting that person.
You can also block.
And you can block, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting as platforms like Clubhouse come in and they've created tools for really, going hard against the folks that are abusive in the space. It's interesting as we get deeper into these social networks, the tools that are coming up to sort of make sure that bad actors are quickly identified and highlighted and made to not given more power than they should have on these platforms. Kate, I know you wanted to touch on autoresponders, which I think is a great LinkedIn social media thing. This is one of those things that I think, when you're talking about social media planning and you're talking about utilizing email, all these different things, an autoresponder can be something that is a great tool, but it can also be something that really depersonalizes things. What do you got to say on this whole autoresponder piece, Kate?
Yeah, so this is, just to clarify, this is not a third-party tool. It's not a third-party autoresponder. It's actually built into LinkedIn's messages. I believe it's only on the premium version of LinkedIn, but if you've got it, it's really helpful, especially if you get multiple messages. Basically, I'll share one quick hack I learned about on LinkedIn. If you want to get attention to something from all of your connections, report that you have a new job. For some reason, that goes crazy on LinkedIn, and every single connection will get a thing that says, "Hey, tell Kate congratulations on 2 days ago I started a podcast and I added this as a new job title." And all of these connections came out of the woodwork saying, "Congratulations on your new role," even though it's not really a new role. But the point is, it gets so much attention, and it ended up generating a couple of hundred private messages. And what I did at some point, because it got to be too much, is I set an autorespond that said, thanks for messaging me. Go check out my podcast at, DATAcated on air. And then it gave them a link to click. And it just, I believe it doesn't really depersonalize it. It's almost like an out of office. And I tend to use it mostly on weekends or if I know I'm going to take some time off. So it lets people know that I'm currently away. It's just been working really well. So I wanted to share that with people.
I love that. All right. I'm just trying to do my technical stuff on the back end and get Christina back in here. Technical challenges. Here we go. And Christina, I don't know if you caught it, but Allie did expand on the kind of creepy behavior, and she has since followed up, says she's going to block. She didn't even know she could do that. So she's being helped out that way.
Yeah, blocking is a great thing. Sorry, I got lost there. It's all right. It's drama, Cameron. It's good for ratings. Part of the
There you
pleasures
go.
of working from home.
Can you resend an invite? Alan says, can you resend an invite on LinkedIn to a person who hasn't responded, but this time with a note on the follow-up as to why you want to connect? Who wants to take that? Go ahead, Steve. And then Jamie.
Yeah, I mean, so an invite second time. I mean, you can. I don't do that though. I mean, you can do anything you want. I send an invite once, unless it's by mistake, and that's that. But I think actually once you've created the invite, it most of the time says pending. So I don't think you could resend it in most cases. But you could withdraw, and there are ways, and there is value in withdrawing the invite. I know LinkedIn has algorithms. I don't know all the details, but if you have too many outstanding connect requests, you have a better shot of them shutting you down temporarily. So there is value in pulling out, withdrawing some of those connect requests. So you could later go back and connect request them, but one of the things that I've done instead is maybe if you could find them doing a post and like their post, engage them. Otherwise, maybe you'll create some value. Maybe even like their post, comment, tag them, and say something that is meaningful with value. And now maybe now you'll get their attention that they would be feel it would be valuable to have you in their network. That would be a recommendation there.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I think it works across social networks. So whether you're on LinkedIn or Instagram, being on Clubhouse these days, like as I go onto Instagram, instead of just looking at a post and saying to myself, I like it and wanting to go connect with them, I'll hit that heart button. I may make a comment on the thing because there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of things going on. Kate was talking about the amount of requests that she gets. You get somebody that's popular that has a lot going on. I would assume that they probably just have a lot of messages. They're active in these are the people that you want to talk with and connect with. To that point, everybody that's in the comments today, these are people you want to connect with. They're active on social media. They care about their profile, what people are thinking of them and their images. They care about engagement. So guys, make sure you are connecting with everybody that's commenting today. Make sure you're following up with them. The truth, the magic is in the follow-up. We really appreciate everybody that's doing that. I got some more questions to get into. I know Jamie wanted to tackle this one. Go ahead, Jamie.
I was going to add that LinkedIn gives you the opportunity to add a message with every connection that you're trying to make. So you should do that from the beginning. Explain why you want to connect in the very first place. I know that on LinkedIn Recruiter or some of the premium ones, they have messages already kind of canned in. I don't like to use those. I like to be as real, as authentic as possible from the beginning. Flattery gets you everywhere usually. So if I comment on something that person has posted, or a lot of times I'll say that, so-and-so suggested I reach out to you. And also people innately want to help each other. It's actually a beautiful thing that still happens, that we are people that tend to like to help each other. So if you are saying, hey, I'm looking to you as a subject matter expert, that's also a great way. And just ask the question or ask the advice and explain it all in the upfront why you want to connect.
I'm sorry, I'm doing the 2020 theme song there. I love sending notes to people for two reasons. One, I think it does add that context, but it's good for me as a customer relationship management tool. As I go back, I remember where I met them or why I was interested in connecting with them in the first place. And so that's where it provides me a reminder, because I can go back in the messages and it's easy to go back to that first message and see. So that's where notes come in. But also from watching this show and from watching the panelists, I've also given myself permission in terms of growing my network to connect with people without sending a note, because you can do it both ways. So while I'm definitely an advocate of sending that message, you see somebody that's interesting and just by chance hit the connect, see if they're going to connect with you. I know that's not going to be everybody's preferred way of doing it, but in terms of growing their network, and I've been able to grow my network since November of being partnered here with Steve by 1,000 connections. And some people will be like, what's the big deal with that? In terms of promoting the business, the brand, the social network, now there's more people potentially seeing what I'm doing on LinkedIn. So I think that's really good. And I feel like I've been a good student of the show here.
Maybe one day you and I will grow up to be just like Kate, where we get like us coming in and she doesn't have to do anything. They just come in. I'm looking forward to those days, Cameron?
Absolutely. Absolutely. When we grow up, we'll be like Kate. I think there was some stuff that I'm trying to, I get speaking and then I forget where I am in the comments here. I know I had another question or comment that I wanted to highlight here around somebody talking about Google Docs. Guys, if you have any more questions, get them in. It's actually, we're very close to the end here. So we'll go into closing statements. If I can find this. Oh, here we go. Brandon says, I use the dictate feature of Google Docs to create written content on the go. Do you have tactics or advice on creative ways to capture content on the go? All right, everybody. This is open to everybody. Christina's got the she's just mulling it over. Maggie, our social media queen.
So, one of the things that I love to do is video. Like even if it's just to record yourself, I'll often get ideas while I'm driving or while I'm in the middle of something else. And, recording video, using an app that you can record your voice on is also pretty cool. Having notes. I use Google Keep, where I keep a whole bunch of notes in it. And I'll also, if I'm brainstorming, I'll just start typing in a whole bunch of content ideas and things like that. So, the key is do what's easy for you. If it is quill pen and parchment, then use quill pen and parchment, right? Like you've got to do what's easy for you and what you're going to do, because your social is a reflection of your business. And sometimes it means just focusing, like Steve focuses on LinkedIn. Like sometimes it's just focusing on one or two platforms and creating that content there. So, I love the dictate feature. Like my Mac has a dictate feature as well. And I love that because I can be doing that and writing notes or doing something, I can multitask a little bit on what I'm doing. So, absolutely. That's a great thing to do, Brandon. I like that idea.
Yeah. Anybody else want to jump in before I give my 2 cents? And then we'll go around with closing statements, talking about what you think is great, kind of if you've gotten a nugget from the show, or more especially if you have some great advice that you think people should be using in their social media content. Anybody want to tackle this creating content on the go? Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah. So, to piggyback off of Maggie, right? I think when you have something going on in your brain, just speak about it, right? I think that's a great opportunity to just put out content, right? I think especially if you're like me, which I think a lot of the folks on this call, I would like to believe, are constantly putting really good stuff in my brain, reading, incredible books. Right now I'm reading a great book called Crucial Conversations. Incredible book. Oh, you know that book? Okay, good to know, Christina. We'll have to talk about it. We'll have to trade notes on it.
I am master certified in Crucial Conversations. That is a vital.
Whoa, look at that. All right.
My training, Steve.
All right. Well, send me an invite on it. I'm happy. Yeah, it's great stuff. But anyway, we always have good stuff that we're putting in our brains. So, we should be able to speak and add value. So whether it's on Google Docs, where you're voice recording, whether you're just get it out, right? I think, when you think about it and it's valuable, get it out there. That's all I have to say on that.
Yeah. And I Kate mentioned Gary Vee earlier. I think, when you're talking about creating content, document, right? If you're thinking that creating content is a challenging thing, don't think about it as creation. Think about it as documentation. Before I was talking about in your business, you have busy periods, you're doing different things. Take the phone out. Folks, we have this amazing device that, you didn't have 20 years ago, right? That can document everything that you're doing. You can just hold it up. People like seeing you in different places. So if you got an event or a meeting in the city, taking the phone out and spending 15 seconds to say, hey, I'm in the city and I'm doing this. Literally, that's all you need to do to create some attention. And some people will be like, well, I don't want to know. I don't want to talk about what I'm having for lunch. Well, then don't talk about what you're having for lunch. But for some people, seeing what somebody's having for lunch is a big deal. So don't discount it. I think one of the big things that I've certainly learned is yes, there's certain content that I don't consume, but it doesn't make sense in the scheme of the world to make that decision for people. If I'm doing something, it's part of my day, and I think it's, it's a legitimate piece, put it out there and let people decide what they want to see. It's a big, abundant world. People will like what they want to like and see what they want to see and tune into what they want to tune into. The only thing that happens when you don't play the game is that you're not in it, right? And if you want to be in it to win it, you got to be in it, right? I think, the lottery piece. If you want to win the millions, you got to play the game, right? So that's the way to do it. I want everybody to go around and kind of give their closing statement, their big takeaway that they either got from this show or from that they would like to give people in terms of some value. And then please let everybody know where they can find you and who you'd like to connect with. I'm going to go ahead and start with Kate. Go ahead, Kate.
All right, I'll start by saying, thank you so much for having me on the show. It was great to connect with the master connectors on here. I definitely learned a lot. I'd say my biggest takeaway piece of advice for anybody who wants to grow their network or their community or their social presence on any platform is to stop thinking so much, to stop putting together that content calendar, stop thinking about the best time or date or region from which to post, right? And just actually do it. Make your first post and see what happens. I think experimenting and taking action is probably the best way that you can learn. You can read books, take courses, and get personal trainers, which will help you along the way. But I don't think there's anything better than actually going out there and doing it.
Absolutely love that advice. All right, we're going over to you, Maggie.
So my big takeaway is to be authentic when you're on social. Just be you. I offer a new service called Teleprompter that just started because my people that were following me on YouTube were struggling with what to come up with on social media. So it prompts them every week. Those are great ways to figure out what to post on your social. And that's where people kind of lose it, like Kate was saying. So don't get so caught up about it. Just be you. Don't think about your client and what their pain point is, and then post about that. It's great. Keep a log of all of the frequently asked questions you get from your clients and use that as fodder for your social media posts. And, I'd love for you guys to reach out. I have a YouTube channel. I go live every Monday at 2:00 Eastern time. Please stop by masteritmedia.com and connect with me on LinkedIn.
Excellent. All right, we're going to go over to Christina.
Yeah, so I'm definitely in agreement with everything that everyone else has said in advance. And I also just wanted to add, one of the biggest insights that I had this year was, for whatever reason, I used to focus my primary audience or interactions from LinkedIn, even though my business had my Facebook page and Twitter and Instagram and all that. The biggest thing that I found, I don't know why I stayed away from it so long, Facebook groups, huge. The engagement just blew me away. So many opportunities, so many different leads, so many new connections. And they were connections that were frequently on a daily and weekly basis reaching out to you. So you were really building relationships. And that was a huge eye opener for me. And I wish I would have done it sooner. So take that advice. And thank you, Cameron, for having me. And you guys can reach me, connect with me on LinkedIn, Christina Szarka. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. You can also search my company name, Improving Your Business, Inc. And I look forward to hearing from you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And we're going to go over to Jaime.
Hi. So I agree with everyone with your takeaways. I think those are awesome. A couple of things I've learned this year as a solopreneur, if you will, is remember your call to action. When you're putting up a video or any kind of content on social, it could be amazing, but ask your community and your connections to do something and put that CTA. I think that's really important. And the other thing, we've been mentioning Gary Vee a couple times. I think it's really interesting to think about him because no one's really talking about his company, VaynerMedia. They're talking about Gary Vee. So it's important to kind of personify your company and be the spokesperson and the brand ambassador, and don't just hide behind the company brand. And lastly, if you are a candidate looking for a job or a business looking to hire, you should definitely connect with me on LinkedIn. I will not deny your request. So feel free. Thank you.
I love that. I also wanted to say, Kate, I don't think you said who you wanted to connect with you. Did you want to just take that opportunity?
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone in the data community, AI community, or even those who just love using LinkedIn to connect. I like the media side of the world, the data side, and also marketing. So kind of all across the board.
Thank you so much for that. Steve, you're up. Give us the send off here. You're on mute.
Gotta do the dance.
That's right.
Yeah, this was really fantastic, and thank you to all the panelists and Cameron, of course. You're the man with all the magic behind the, as I say, the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain. But yeah, it's just amazing. But so the takeaway, and I'm gonna just echo what Kate said. And funny, Kate, I don't know if you saw it, but I did. You actually might have seen it. I did a video post because I think you commented on it or liked it. But I did a video post this morning, my Fired Up Friday video. And basically, it was you're good where you are. So just take action. Just do something, right? Just go. Like, again, I'm a simpleton, right? I'm keep it simple guy, right? Don't get so hung up on all the details and Canva and this and that. And that's great. Just you could add on a little bit at a time, but just do something. Take action, right? That's why I like the title was, creating a social media action plan. Okay, but the best part of that word is action. So let's take action. Let's do something. Again, you guys are awesome. We appreciate our audience. We love this platform. Obviously, or maybe not obviously to some of you guys, Cameron and I share, our core values, and we really want to inspire people and help them be the best that they could be personally and professionally. And so this is a great platform. I really believe that we are the light, and in a really dark world where we've had a lot of challenges and struggles with, COVID and other personal stuff going on and job losses, that we are the light. So go out and be the light, shine your light, like our friend Fanny says, and just inspire the world. And again, I appreciate everyone. Appreciate the audience, the viewership. Cameron, always, sir, you are awesome. Don't forget to come to BizDev Live on Tuesdays at 12 noon and check out his YouTube channel for 11 o'clock, his live show every day, Monday through Friday. So it's great stuff. And you can find me right here on LinkedIn. I have a Master Connector YouTube channel. Come find me that way as well. But this is where I live. I live right here on LinkedIn. So come find me. Say hello.
I love it. I'll just say this before we do our countdown to crushing it. Folks, connect with each other. I know Christina's saying she's got a YouTube channel. She'll drop that link into the comments post-show. Connect with each other. Keep connecting. Keep sharing this program out. If you found value here, invite some other people. That's how we grow this thing, how we continue to provide value. Steve and I absolutely providing that opportunity and education. That's what this is all about. All right, Steve, it's that time. Count us down here.
All right. So, we are the light. So what are we going to do? We're going to count down to 5 here. 1,
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Crush it! All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here. This is it. Come back next week. We look forward to talking next week. We'll be talking about leading by example with Corinthia Barber, Braden Daniels, who's in the comments today. Thanks for being here. Timothy Vagan and Jerome Amos. We look forward to seeing you. Here we go with our beautiful video. We'll see you next week.
Fire up your Friday.
Fired Up Friday.
With Steve Spiro, the Master Connector.
I am Steve Spiro, the Master Connector.
Over the next hour of this Master Connection series, we will take a deep dive into the different ways to connect and network effectively.
See us and hear us right now. So LinkedIn, we are on here. We're getting ready
Hear from experts along with Steve Spiro, who went from being shy and introverted to the master connector.